it seems to present obstacles and challenges. So even from my experience, I've been told no end of times that I should change my accent.
Who's told you to change your accent?
Oh, senior members of staff have told me to change my accent. Mentors have told me to change my accent. People who've been to papers that I've presented have said, I really, really liked your paper, but it took me a while to get over your accent because I thought you were stupid. I mean, in the end, it's a kind of a backhanded compliment because they're saying they enjoyed the content, they enjoyed the paper. However, they would have been able to get into it more quickly if they hadn't had to get over the fact that I had an accent in the first place, which is really, really bizarre and shows just how much accent, people aren't exposed enough to accents to have that kind of response.
But what research did you do?
So I interviewed 20 members of academic staff from around the country from Russell Group institutions and spoke to them about their accents. And every single one of them had experiences that were quite negative because they spoke with accents. But the findings were quite gendered, it turned out, because the men had a much more of a kind of rebellious response to it. So they felt really proud of their accents. They felt like they were going to speak in stronger accents in response to any kind of challenge. Whereas the women felt much more, and it was really clearly gendered, the women felt much more that they had to assimilate.
And then in doing that, was there one accent which was deemed more challenged?
Well, among the people I spoke to, people with Birmingham accents seemed to find it the worst, and they seem to get the worst comments and really quite offensive comments in response.
Adrian Chiles, who is from the West Midlands, famously said, if you speak with a Birmingham accent, people assume you're thick.
Yeah.
But it means you only have to string two sentences together and ask a decent question. They think you're a genius.
It's more than about just drugs. It's about limited access to advanced treatments like IMRT, intensity modulated radiotherapy, and SABR, stereotactic ablative radiotherapy.
And do you, when you listen to the radio, do you find it sad?
I'd love to hear more accents, particularly, on the radio or on TV. Usually people bring up people like Cheryl Cole or Anton Deck as examples that, regional accents are fine. But of course, that's in a very, very particular area on light entertainment TV.
Yeah.
Tune, black and white army, tune, black and white army.
I've forgotten how powerful that one was.
Oh, I'm filling up here.
Oh, I just remembered who I am.
Who are you?
Ant or Deck, I'm not sure.
It's not the same, particularly in the workplace, and in some workplaces in particular.
So if we think about broadcasters who do have accents,
yeah,
Alan Titchmarsh speaks with something almost close to you, do you think?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I mean, obviously I've got a nicer accent than Alan, but yeah, it's kind of near mine.
Now, I got into trouble today in the pavilion. A lady from NAFAS came up to me.
The National Association of Flower Arranging Societies.
Just so.
Yeah.
And she said, you were very rude about our Ikebana last night. And I said, we weren't rude about your Ikebana. We loved your Ikebana, NAFAS.
In a way, do you think it's significant that he came to us through gardening?
Yeah, I think so. And also, again, it's light entertainment. So it very much depends in broadcasting whereabouts, it is. And so I think, for example, in more factual broadcasting, like stuff to do with documentaries, again, you don't hear very many accents. And that's why someone like Brian Cox has become really famous. I mean, of course, he's a brilliant scientist, he's a belter, but also his accent has made him really stand out.
And so we built telescopes that were able to extend our senses beyond the horizon and showed us a universe that's billions of years old and contains trillions of stars and galaxies.
So you think that not only is he a belter, but he's a bit of a trailblazer?
I think so, yeah.
Our insatiable quest for information is the making of us.
We, of course, know that this has been an obsession of the British, and particularly the English, if I talk about Pygmalion, which became My Fair Lady. And do you think that that's a message that still resonates?
Oh, yeah, I do. And I think the fact that it still resonates decades after it was made is probably quite enlightening in itself. So I actually use that at the start of the dissertation that I wrote for the research. I actually use a quote from My Fair Lady because it seemed to be the case that to show accent it seems to be a signifier of educational standing. So if you have an accent, then you can't be educated. So in times when I've been on TV or the radio before, I haven't had comments about the content of what I've said. What I've had is comments about who gave you a degree speaking like that.
Really?
Actually, you do get quite a lot of comments like that.
An Englishman's way of speaking absolutely classifies him. The moment he talks, he makes some other Englishman despise him.
I was on Radio 4 a few months ago and I got an email through that said, I can't bear to listen to you, your accent's just vile.
Who did it come from?
I've no idea, I didn't even bother to check. It was some guy who bothered to look me up to send me an email to say that he couldn't listen to me.
Why can't the English? Why can't the English learn to speak?